Well, look who it is. A big hello to our friends watching Today All Day.
Yeah, we hope you had a great weekend. Hoda and Savannah have the morning off, but the show must go on. Our digital show Today in 30 featuring the very best of today in a single half hour.
All right, so we'll start with the remnants of Henri and the path of destruction it's leaving across the Northeast. Kathy Park is on the ground in Rhode Island with the very latest.
Plus the worrying rise in COVID cases as the FDA moves to fully approve the Pfizer vaccine, just ahead the hopes that will boost vaccinations.
Also ahead, Harry Smith takes us inside a very special art collection celebrating the untold stories of African Americans.
And legendary award-winning actress Alfre Woodard joins us live to talk about the new season of her hit show C.
Plus, we'll hear from the granddaughters of some of the most influential women in entertainment and politics, from Lucille Ball to Eleanor Roosevelt. The lessons they learned from their legendary grandmothers.
Sounds awesome. All right, Chanel, it's go time for
Today in 30. We'll begin with NBC's Kathy Park in Rhode Island. Kathy, good morning.
Chanel, good morning to you. Henri is being blamed for widespread damage here in Rhode Island. The winds got so fierce that trees, massive trees like the one you see behind me, stood no chance. In fact, this one toppled onto power lines. It appears this entire road is without power, and we're told customers it's likely they won't get power back on for several days. This morning, thousands in the Northeast waking up without power after Henri barreled through the region as a tropical storm. The slow-moving system made landfall in coastal Rhode Island, with winds reported at 60 miles per hour.
The damage is significant. The wind especially created some significant not only power outages, but also tree damage. There's several large trees down throughout town.
At the height of the storm, massive waves crashed shorelines, closing beaches and bridges. Farther inland, a damaging blow to homes.
We saw a few trees come down across the street. His carport got destroyed by a big tree.
A day earlier, New York got a preview of Henri as extreme weather battered the area Saturday night, cutting short a star-studded concert in Central Park.
Proceed to your vehicles and protected areas outside of the event site.
The relentless rain flooding streets and subways, a rush of water even cascading down the stairs. The storm also socked parts of New Jersey with flash flooding, stranding residents.
With the support of several local, police, fire, EMS crews, the county, we were able to rescue about 150 to 200 residents from their homes.
Connecticut and Massachusetts got slammed too.
Thunder and lightning with this torrential rain that's been making driving really tough.
Trees toppled onto homes and power lines. President Biden promising federal support.
FEMA has already pre-positioned resources in the region to speed our ability to respond, including food, water, and life-saving communications equipment, as well as generators.
Henri now weakening and leaving behind a weekend mess that could take days to clean up. And back here in Rhode Island, residents here are no strangers to powerful storms and hurricanes. In fact, they remember the devastation left behind by Superstorm Sandy in 2012, as well as Hurricane Bob of 1991, which killed more than a dozen people and left behind $1.5 billion in damage. Chanel?
All right, Kathy, thank you. Now to new developments in the fight against the coronavirus. Full FDA approval of the Pfizer vaccine could come as early as today. This as some hospitals in the South are being slammed by COVID cases, and frontline workers are running low on patients. NBC's Carrie Sanders is in Florida, where doctors are gathering this morning to address the unvaccinated. Carrie, good morning.
Well, good morning, Chanel. Actually, the FDA has just given the Pfizer vaccine full approval. No longer an emergency use approval, now full approval. All of this coming as there was a simulated walkout here today. About 100 doctors who gathered here saying enough is enough. And now they're hoping with this approval of the Pfizer vaccine, more people will get vaccinated. This morning, the FDA giving full approval to Pfizer's 2-dose COVID-19 vaccine, making it the first COVID vaccine in the United States to move beyond emergency use authorization. Officials hope the move will help persuade more people to get the shot and make it possible for more businesses and schools to mandate vaccinations.
And this really tells people that there is no doubt whatsoever, based on this independent scientific review, that the benefits of the vaccine far outweigh the risks.
Welcome news as the nation's healthcare workers battling a relentless new wave as the Delta variant rages.
We're trying to do our best, but something has to give.
Across the South, ICU beds are filling fast, 5 states within 10% of reaching capacity. And in Florida, a state that just topped 3 million cases, some doctors so fed up they're gathering en masse today in Palm Beach to say enough is enough.
As doctors, we are mentally and physically exhausted. I personally held hands with nurses, physicians. I've had friends who've talked about leaving, healthcare. We're exhausted.
Driving their frustration, the spread of vaccine misinformation, like this absurd theory during a recent school board meeting here.
You take a black light flashlight and shine it on your veins, and you're now going to glow in the black light, because guess what? You're no longer human.
Social media is fueling the spread, too, with rampant misinformation.
The speed, scale, and sophistication with which it is spreading and impacting our health is really unprecedented.
Conservative talk show host Phil Valentine, who had been a vaccine skeptic, passing away this weekend after being hospitalized with the virus. His brother telling the Tennessean before his death, "I know if he were able to tell you this, he would tell you, go get vaccinated."
And we're back with, it says, one of our favorite segments. I don't know, Steals and Deals is still my favorite. But Mr. Smith goes to, that's hard, it's my second favorite on the show.
Good one. All right, right? So this morning, this is going to be good. Henri is taking us to Tacoma, Washington, to introduce us to a family on a mission to educate as many people as possible about these untold stories of some African Americans.
So we're in Tulsa earlier this summer, reporting on the race massacre of 100 years ago. We're in a little community center there, and off in a little corner is just this tiny room with a couple of pieces in it, right? And kind of looking in, and here comes Bernard Kinsey. And he's just this bigger-than-life person, says, let me show you what we got here, right? And he says, but this is a tiny little sample. The real thing, if you want to see it, come to Tacoma later this summer. So we did.
Wow.
Tacoma, Washington has a beautiful art museum. The couple in this picture, it's their name on the giant sign outside.
To whom much is given, much is required in a life with no regrets, and that's what we try to live every day.
Bernard and Shirley Kinsey are here to share their life's passion, a breathtaking collection of art and historic memorabilia.
People always want to know, where do you find these things? And I had to stop and think yesterday. I said, well, I don't even remember how we found it. It literally found us.
What you will find inside is beautiful, evocative, rich, and revelatory. Like this signature painting by Ava Casey, a woman unshackled. On her dress, tiny inscriptions of African-American inventions.
Airplane safety device, blood plasma preserve, seed planters, corn harvesters, phone transmitters, shoemaker cabinet, just everything on here.
Right.
And then you see those her bracelets like shackles.
Yeah.
That are now.
Yeah, and look at the story. We did not come to America because it was a better place. We came and made it a better place.
In the mural that is America's story, there are crucial sections that are blank. Between the broad brushstrokes, what's missing are details. Details that make it richer, more defined, more truthful, like the service of black soldiers in World War I.
We had 400,000 black men go off to Europe, but they could only dig ditches and bury the dead. The French government asked General Pershing to allow the black troops to fight in French uniform and French guns, French tanks, and the 369th Harlem Hellfighters out of Harlem took on the task. And they fought for 192 days and was the first regiment to reach the Rhine River.
Black history, says Bernard, is American history.
41st and 42nd Congress, 1870, black senator and congressman in the South, elected because black people could vote. In other words, in 1867, we voted. If you vote, you get this, okay? That's just that simple.
History and art that's transparent, transformative.
And this particular piece reminds me of home. I grew up on a little dirt road, in a 2-bedroom house with tin roof.
The piece by artist Huey Lee Smith.
So when I saw this, a number of years ago now, I looked at that and I said, that's me. That's me jumping rope on the foundation of the house I grew up in. Didn't know where I was going, but I was going somewhere.
Somewhere was historically black Florida A&M University, where she met Bernard. Two things about Shirley caught his attention.
She's always the prettiest lady in the room. And she had such courage to get arrested during the civil rights period at Florida A&M.
And while the art collection came later, it's been funded in part. Well, listen to this.
You know, we agreed that when we moved to California from Tallahassee, that we would save her check and live on my check. And for the first 15 years, we didn't spend a paycheck.
And my friends say, oh, Shirley, that's your money y'all spending now.
The collection, or parts of it, have been displayed from Epcot to Hong Kong and seen by millions.
Three things. I hope they walk away being inspired, motivated, and a little bit more educated. I hope they have something inside, one of those, I think it was Oprah who used to call them aha moments. Like, oh, this is why that happened. This is why this is going on. This is what we can do about it.
Walk through the collection, and you can almost hear the words of poet Maya Angelou.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise.
Coming to the Kinsey collection, your brain is going to be doing like this.
No question, you will get schooled by what you see here, but in a good way.
We are fully American.
The Kinsey's son, Khalil, is curator of the collection.
That's my wish, is that this is enriching, you know, and that people come and that they get something from it, whether it's big or small, but that they, again, leave expanded and enjoy the time.
We certainly did.
Hi guys, it's Alfre Woodard. I am at the studio today. I'm the only guest in the studio, and we're all being very, very careful. But I'm here today to talk about my project See, all caps SEE, that is on Apple TV Plus this Friday, coming Friday on the 27th.
Our next guest's legendary career spans 6 decades, and over that time, Alfre Woodard has won 4 Emmys, and she's been nominated for 2 Grammys and an Academy Award.
Not bad at all. Now she's gearing up for the 2nd season of her hit show, See, set in a world where everyone is blind.
So good. Alfre plays Paris, a midwife and spiritual leader whose tribe learns some shocking news. Take a look.
By order of Princess Magra, you are to return with us to Pensa immediately.
Princess? She's dead. I assure you, she's both alive and the sister of Queen Kane.
What? She's alive. Magra is alive.
What? We need to move. Paris.
Magra is alive. Kofun, go to your mother. I will wait here for Baba and Haniwa.
I'm not leaving you here alone.
I will not be alone. Go to her. Go now.
Wow. Ooh, Alfre joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
What is that like for you when you're watching that clip? I mean, we're all in it. You know the words.
And I was all in it, too. I turn back into a viewer once I'm done with something.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. It's good.
But when I look at it, I remember, I miss Archie Madekwe, who plays Kofun, and I shouldn't start naming because
I know. Well, Jason
they're
Momoa.
my family.
Yeah.
But I realized how much I missed them just after a couple of months, but also how cold, how flippin' cold.
Where was that?
I was going to ask you, does it feel like the studio? Like right now, this studio?
Well, let me back up. So here you go. You've got Jason Momoa. I mean, it's an all-star cast, really. Action-packed show. But we're going to learn a lot about your character, right, in season 2, this season.
Yes.
What can you tell us?
Oh, okay. So the season 1, it was a large landscape. We're traipsing through just the majestic
right. And
landscape.
for people who haven't seen it, you're blind. Everybody's blind.
Everybody's freezing. Well, the actors are. But and there's hidden tribes. It is 600 years forward of us, and it's been apocalypse. A virus sweeps the earth, and the 2 million people left are rendered without sight. So it's been 400 years since a sighted child was born. Oh. So we start there. But by the time, you've got to watch season 1, even if you've seen it already, because it's like, when you need a lot of runway to lift off that fabulous big plane. And then we go into season 2, focusing in more ECU, extreme close-ups, everybody at home, on the relationships. Jason plays Baba Voss, and Dave Bautista comes this season playing his brother Ito, and it is just epic clash. They're both very strong, very physical. There's a lot of action this season, but also their physicality is so intense because at the core is a story of wounded two little boys growing up. And so not only that relationship, but the Royals, Paris, the twins, Nesta.
So many
Cooper.
layers.
Yeah. It's all about family. And, you know, family's where you learn to love, but it's always also where you learn to fight.
Yeah. What is it like playing a character who is visually impaired, just like everybody at this time in the future? I mean, how do you go into that, and how do you come out of it?
Well, it is it's a language like anything else. And so whatever part of your body or that is compromised, you learn how to do whatever you need to do. Still, you find ways to work it. But we don't live in a world where everybody's blind. We live in a world where people are unusual and rare if they have sight. Yeah. So it is an established world of hundreds of years. We trained with one of our executive producers, Joe Strecce, in terms of being able to navigate without the help of your vision, and how you start to see with different parts of your body, how the other senses are heightened. And it is... And we had low vision actors to work with us as well within the cast. So it was it's such an eye opener about what we consider a handicap and what stops a human being, which is nothing. So when you're watching it, you will forget that people are working without vision, and I think you'll start to appreciate your own. How I come out of it is tough, is that sometimes I don't look at people when I'm listening to them, and they think I'm not paying attention because
That's good.
You're hearing, you're smelling, you're sensing.
Real quick, you have such a range. Just thinking about this role, and then we were talking about Core that I had watched before years ago. How do you pick your roles?
If I'm reading it, and I just read it like I'm reading it Times, it can be a good story, but I'm not there. If I read it and every time it says Paris, something starts to go there, then I'm organically connected to it.
It has to move.
So you feel it, okay.
You feel it. You are such a delight. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, I am so happy to be here.
In person.
I know.
My goodness. Season 2 of C premieres this Friday on Apple TV+. It is good. Worth the watch, for sure.
So nice to see you. Thank you.
Lucille Ball, Audrey Hepburn, Eleanor Roosevelt, women you all know and admire who broke barriers in entertainment and politics and paved the way for generations to come.
Well, now, we want you to meet their granddaughters, who we had the opportunity to meet recently. They shared some of their fondest memories and the lessons they learned from their legendary grandmothers.
Says right here, we work miracles.
In the 1950s, Lucille Ball broke new ground in television with her series I Love Lucy, along the way becoming one of the most iconic entertainers of all time. But for Kate Luckenbill Connor, her recollections of the woman who is her grandmother are a little different. You were 4 years old when your grandma, you called her Nana, when she passed away. Do you have memories of her from back then?
I do. She was really involved in my life at that time. She would wrap my little tufts of hair in these curlers and put me in silk pajamas. She loved being a grandma.
As you grew up after she had passed, did you have any idea, like, just how big she was?
I didn't watch the show a lot as a kid, and then I started watching it in my 20s. I called my mom one day, like, in a tizzy and said, Mom, this show is really funny.
Of course, Lucille and Desi Arnaz were married for a time off-screen as well, after giving birth to Kate's mother, Lucy Arnaz, and later a son, Desi Jr. Lucille went on to become the first female head of a major Hollywood studio, Desilu. Your Nana didn't set out to become an icon.
No. And she didn't even want to be the head of the studio. And she still called Desi all the time and said, what do? I don't want to do this. But she just did things because she had to, you know? She wore pants because she liked pants, not because she wanted to say women should wear pants.
Just as Lucille was ruling the small screen in the 1950s, Audrey Hepburn was making her mark on the big screen.
Well, hello, how are you?
Reaching a level of fame her granddaughter Emma Ferrer is still struggling to grasp.
I know you never got to meet your grandmother. How old were you when you realized the impact that she had?
I still haven't truly realized the impact that she's had. My dad sat me down probably when I was about 4 and tried to explain. And slowly I started going to friends' houses and seeing that she was in a poster in their kitchen, or I would see her on a t-shirt or on handbags. And I kind of was like, you know, I guess this actually is a bigger deal than I thought it was.
An avid dancer in her teens, Audrey was just 24 years old when she earned an Oscar for her role in Roman Holiday.
Thank you so very much.
You're in your mid-20s, which is when your grandmother was this huge Hollywood icon. How do you reckon with that?
When 21 rolled around and I was like, okay, what have I done? It's kind of like inevitable to compare and despair, as they say. It's like this dichotomy of wishing that I had had the chance to know her and also feeling like really intimidated by who she is and how like amazing she is.
Well, I've got a wonderful idea.
Audrey's role in Breakfast at Tiffany's solidified her status as a fashion icon, and some of her looks live on through Emma today.
I have like sweaters that I just have worn so much over the years, and I'll put it on and like forget that it's hers, and then I'll like be painting and be like, wait, no, don't get paint on this. Stop.
Audrey had 2 children, including Emma's father, Sean Hepburn Ferrer. In the 1970s, she stepped out of the spotlight and focused on motherhood. Later, she would embrace her role as a UNICEF ambassador, up until losing her battle to cancer at just 63 years old.
Sometimes it's hard to be connected to somebody that you didn't really know, but probably plays a huge part in your life. How do you stay close with her?
Having sort of begun my own journey working with humanitarian organizations, this has been a way for me to really kind of feel a connection to her in her UNICEF years. I think that she really revolutionized what we take for granted today, a celebrity of her magnitude associated with a cause like she was. I don't know if we can really appreciate how revolutionary that impact was.
Revolutionary is how many remember former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, including her granddaughter Anne Roosevelt and her great-granddaughter Tracy Roosevelt.
She was a person who said, I want things to change. I want my life to change. And then she just would go do it.
Something that was really important to her was making sure that women could stand on equal footing economically. I really do feel like she just set this amazing example.
Later known for her outspokenness, Eleanor was initially reluctant to step into the public eye. She became First Lady in 1933 at age 48, during her husband, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's first of 4 terms as president.
There was a quote where she said, I'm just going to be a plain, ordinary First Lady, which I think anybody that studied her knows that is not the case.
I really think she didn't want the role. She didn't want to have the spotlight trained on her, and so part of her was terrified.
She was very humble, and so I think that she thought sort of, why me? Why am I going to be in the spotlight now?
Eleanor went on to redefine the role of First Lady, holding press conferences, writing columns, and fighting for human rights. But to her family, she will always be Grandmère.
What do you feel like in your family her legacy has been?
We all have a love for Grandmère.
You see inspiration from Eleanor Roosevelt that we each take, because she was never afraid of standing up. She was not a bystander.
Generations of young people still resonate to her vulnerability, her humility, her determination, her courage to stand out, to not be silent.
Have a great Monday, and we'll see you all tomorrow right here on Today.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.